Welcome to this deep dive, where we take the specific roadmaps and the research you send us, and we turn them into actionable, crystal clear insights. Today's mission is driven by a very common and, I think, very compelling goal: rapid, achievable saving.
Yes, and this one is especially practical.
We're unpacking a 6-month blueprint, a really specific financial plan designed to help you accumulate 50,000 rupees. And the source material we have is fantastic because it anchors this goal to a clear baseline, a 1 lakh rupee monthly salary.
Which is so important. It grounds the whole thing in reality.
Okay, let's unpack this. This is relevant to anyone, really, regardless of their exact salaries, because it replaces that sort of vague hope with a rigorous structure. It proves that a seemingly large goal is just 6 iterations of a very small, well-defined habit.
And what's fascinating here is that the plan doesn't begin with deprivation, not at all. It begins with an immediate reality check. It anchors that 50,000 rupee goal directly into a realistic monthly capacity, which is, that's the cornerstone of actually sticking with it.
And maybe just for some of our global listeners, give a little context on that salary figure.
Sure. A 1 lakh rupee monthly salary in India, it places you firmly in a strong, upwardly mobile professional bracket. So the plan's greatest strength is showing just how little that salary actually has to bend to meet this target.
Okay, so let's start with the immediate math. This is step 1 in the blueprint, establishing the required monthly commitment. We need 50,000 rupees over 6 months.
Okay.
So you just did the basic math. That dictates you have to save 8,334 rupees every single month. That's the floor.
And this is where the planning gets really smart right away. The source recommends this subtle but really powerful psychological adjustment.
What's that?
Instead of clinging to that exact figure, the plan rounds the amount up just slightly to 8,500 rupees per month.
Building in a buffer.
Exactly. That small buffer is a structural guarantee. It ensures that you don't just hit the 50,000 rupee target, you comfortably exceed it by 1,000 rupees over the 6 months.
So it builds in a margin for error.
Right. And crucially, it reduces that performance anxiety that so often derails new savers. You know you're safe, even if there's a small slip up 1 month.
That slight overcommitment is brilliant. So, okay, let's put this required 8,500 into context, because step 2 is all about applying the modified 50-30-20 rule.
Yes, you need to know how easily this goal actually fits into your existing financial capacity.
So the classic 50-30-20 rule, break that down for us in this context.
Sure, it's a standard guideline for your income. So for that 1 lakh salary, the modified structure looks something like this. 50,000 for your needs, rent, groceries, utilities.
Okay, that's 50%.
Then 30,000 for your wants. This is, your discretionary spending, entertainment, shopping. And then the final 20,000, 20% is recommended for savings, retirement, goals, investments, that sort of thing.
And this is where that financial relief, that aha moment, really hits.
It really does.
The standard recommended savings for this bracket is 20,000 rupees, but this entire 6-month blueprint only asks for 8,500.
Exactly. The source notes that the target is very doable precisely because the requirement, 8,500, is less than half of what you should be saving anyway.
So it's not a stretch at all.
Not at all. This isn't a tightrope walk. It's like a stroll in the park.
Yeah.
The financial framework is already designed to accommodate a much higher saving rate. You don't have to overhaul your whole life, just a few habits.
Okay, so we have the plan, we have the capacity. But, as you and I know, capacity doesn't equal commitment.
Never.
And that's why the source material stresses step 3, which they actually call the most important step: automate savings.
This is the operational shift. Just having money sitting in your account labeled savings is not saving. It's just deferred spending.
Right, you're just waiting for an excuse to use it.
Absolutely. The moment you have to decide to save, you open the door to decision fatigue. You're constantly choosing between, a new pair of shoes and your future goal.
So practically, what does this step actually entail?
It's 2 simple mechanical steps that completely remove that decision fatigue. First, you open a separate savings account.
A completely different one.
Yes, the mental separation is essential. If the money lives in the same account you use for coffee and rent, it's vulnerable. Second, you set up an auto transfer of that 8,500 to the new account the very moment your salary drops.
And the source is very explicit about the mindset here. It says you have to treat this transfer like a non-negotiable bill. But let me put you back on that for a second. What if you genuinely need that money for, say, rent or other big bills right after payday? Doesn't this feel a bit too restrictive?
That's a fair point, and it's why the source emphasizes the timing and the philosophy. They call it the golden rule. Save first, spend later. Think of it like a tax. It leaves your system before you can even budget around it. So you adjust your spending on wants for the rest of the month, knowing that the 8,500 has already secured your future goal.
So it's about pre-commitment.
That is the structural defense mechanism right there. By moving the money before your wants budget even registers it exists, you guarantee the goal is met. The success of this whole thing hinges on making that choice just once when you set up the automation, not, 6 different times over 6 months.
I love that focus on the behavioral science. So, okay, the saving is automated. Now let's look at step 4, which is where the plan offers some built-in freedom, the no-pain method of expense cutting.
Right.
This is where we optimize the spending side of that 50-30-20 rule.
Precisely. And even though you've technically already met your goal with the automation, since you're drawing from that 20,000 savings capacity, applying this no-pain method does 2 things. It makes your monthly budget feel way lighter, and it provides a huge financial margin.
Okay, so let's run through these 4 specific cuts because they are so immediately quantifiable.
Let's do it.
First up, the modern budget killer. Food delivery. The plan suggests cutting just 3 orders a month. That's not a lifestyle change. That's just slight moderation. And it yields, what, 1,500 rupees saved?
And that figure is so realistic. I mean, 3 delivery fees, maybe a couple of surge prices. It adds up fast.
Okay, what's next?
Next is the subscription pile. The plan recommends reviewing and canceling just one OTT service.
And for anyone who doesn't know, OTT is over the top. So your streaming services, Netflix, Disney, whatever it is. Canceling just one of those.
Yeah.
It's an easy 500 rupees saved every month. That's truly painless.
Totally painless. Next, transport. If you rely a lot on, say, cab services, consciously opting to use the metro or public transport sometimes, maybe twice a week, that results in another 1,000 rupees saved per month.
And often less stress, too, which is a nice little bonus.
Another nice bonus.
And finally, the largest single chunk here, impulse shopping. Controlling this tendency, the source estimates, saves 2,000 rupees monthly. But what does that actually look like in reality?
Well, it's highly relatable. It could be 4 unnecessary clothing items you bought online, or 10 expensive coffees out, or 2 spontaneous trips to the bookstore.
Right.
It's that constant stream of small, unplanned transactions that don't really improve your life. The plan doesn't say stop shopping, it just says apply awareness.
So if we just total that up, 1,500 from food, 500 from streaming, 1,000 from transport, and 2,000 from impulse buys, that's 5,000 rupees of monthly optimization.
Right there.
And it comes from these tiny minor adjustments.
And this just demonstrates that built-in flexibility we talked about. You only need to find that 8,500 to secure the goal, and you just found 5,000 through painless cuts.
So you suddenly freed up $5,000 of your wants budget that you weren't even supposed to touch.
Exactly. It's a huge psychological safety net that makes staying on track so much easier.
Absolutely. The plan relies on strategic awareness, not, wholesale deprivation. Okay, so you've secured that monthly 8,500. Step 5 is crucial. Park your money smart. Because even automated savings is vulnerable if it's just sitting idle in a regular, instantly accessible bank account.
Right. The whole point is that this money needs to be available 6 months from now, but not 5 minutes from now. And the source lists 2 excellent vehicles for this.
The first is a recurring deposit, or RD, and the second is a liquid mutual fund. Can you give us a little clarity on why these are so suitable for a short 6-month window?
Certainly. A recurring deposit is basically a systematic fixed deposit. You commit to putting in a fixed amount, or 8,500 each month for 6 months, and the bank pays you a small guaranteed rate of return.
And it's safe.
It's safe, it's predictable, and it requires some friction to withdraw, which is actually a good thing for a short-term goal.
Okay. And the liquid mutual fund.
That's a bit different, but just as suitable. Liquid funds invest in extremely safe short-term money market instruments. Their primary benefit for this goal is, well, liquidity. You can usually get the money in about 24 hours, but they often give you slightly better returns than a standard savings account.
And it's out of sight.
Crucially, by parking the funds there, the money is physically out of your main account, which just reinforces that psychological separation we're trying to build.
Okay, so that's the core blueprint. Define, automate, optimize, and park. But the plan also includes this really excellent optional strategy, a way to turn that 6-month goal into a, 4 or 5-month reality.
Yes, the bonus step. how to speed things up. This is for the listener who wants to go from just meeting the floor to like smashing through the ceiling.
And how do you do that?
The plan suggests 3 paths to supplementary income. You could take on some short-term freelancing, pick up a minor weekend gig, or the quickest solution, sell unused items around the house, the classic declutter and cash flow approach.
And the source material has a really powerful calculation here. It says if you manage to bring in even a modest extra 3,000 rupees a month through these efforts.
That adds up to 18,000 rupees in just 6 months.
18,000.
And that completely alters the scope of the mission. Instead of hitting 51,000, you're suddenly looking at accumulating nearly 70,000 rupees.
Wow.
And that kind of acceleration is just so motivating. It validates the effort and proves that the original goal was just the starting line.
It's undeniable proof that the goal isn't a ceiling, it's a floor. So let's review the final conservative result from the blueprint, sticking strictly to that automated 8,500 a month.
Okay, the baseline.
If you adhere to the structure, the results are pretty much guaranteed. By month 1, you have 8,500 safely parked away. By the end of month 3, you're halfway there, sitting at 25,500. And consistently, by the end of month 6, you successfully achieve and exceed the target. You've accumulated 51,000 rupees.
And the power of this blueprint, it doesn't lie in discovering some secret investment scheme. It's in its simplicity and its adherence to that one fundamental behavioral rule we talked about.
The golden rule.
The golden rule. Save first, spend later. It's all about rerouting money you already have before your habitual spending can claim it.
So what stands out to you, the listener, is just how effective pre-commitment is as a financial tool.
That's it. This blueprint provides the template, but your decision to automate that transfer is the engine. And once that engine is running, the rest of the plan happens almost effortlessly. It guarantees your success.
And that systematic thinking, that whole notion of turning a choice into a system, that leads us to a final provocative thought that builds on everything we've covered today.
The entire 6-month blueprint is constructed on one single behavioral change, treating your savings like a non-negotiable, mandatory bill. Just like your rent.
Which raises an important question. If applying that stringent, non-negotiable mindset to just one expense category, your savings, can yield 51,000 rupees in 6 months, what would happen to your long-term non-financial goals? Things like exercise, or learning a new professional skill, or time management. What would happen if you applied that same structural principle of pre-commitment and non-negotiable discipline to those areas of your life?